Sounds good. All right, Kim. So, for those of you who do not know Kim, a little bit, she is obviously insanely busy with listings and her team and rentals as an investor. But she's had a really good year so far. So, we're really excited to hear about, what she has been doing to win in this market because it's insane. I don't know if I know anybody in our area in Sussex County that is doing it at such a high level as Kim is. So I'm going to give it over to you, Kim. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how
Yeah.
this year's been going for you.
Okay. So like you said, I'm Kim Rock. I am just up a little bit from you guys in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I'm in the Langhorne office. So if anyone is familiar, are any of you guys licensed in Pennsylvania? Yes, no,
Not
I
not
don't
so
yet.
think we
much.
have any.
No. Okay. All right. Well, you're a little further because you're like how far are you guys from like Center City, Philadelphia?
We're all the way at the bottom. So as far
Yeah.
south as you can
Yep.
go.
Okay.
Yep.
You're like the Delaware when we're talking about like Maryland, Delaware, right? That's you
Yep.
guys. Okay. That's what I thought. I'm familiar with like Wilmington, but that's not you. Um, okay. So yeah, I'm in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and licensed Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Um, and I've been in business for 15 years. I just had my 15-year real estate anniversary. Had a team since 2015. And so currently our team consists of myself doing the listings, 3 admin, and 6 buyers agents. Um, and last year we did about 200 transactions for like 70-ish million.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Awesome.
So I think we kind of were like dubbing this what was it, winning market share with community and client events, was what you had come up with, which I love. So the thing that, when Mary approached me about this and said like, what are you winning at, what do you want to talk about, that I can like bring value to you guys, the thing that popped into my mind at first was that about a year ago I said to myself, like, I really want to become just like the name, in my town that everyone knows. So when you think of a realtor, there's always like that person that you think of. And, I want that person to be me. So how can you go about, doing things just to get some more of that like brand awareness, name recognition, and like, become that trusted person in your community. So actually that kind of thinking started a few years ago when someone asked me if I wanted to be on the local Parks and Rec board for my township. And at first I was like, I don't know if I'm not like a political person. Like, I don't know if I want to be, in community politics, but the Parks and Rec board is kind of as unpolitical as you can get. And it's something I actually enjoy. Like, I enjoy all the, facilities and parks and playgrounds and everything in my community. So I did that. And that got me interested in just wanting to like sponsor things in the community and do things, for the community. So we really put a focus this past year on both client events, but also, in addition to client events, community events. So client events, I'm sure you guys are doing some of the typical things, like we do a pie, a Thanksgiving pie event. I think that's like a pretty common thing that you've probably all heard of or done yourself. And some people do like a July 4th kind of picnic for clients, ice cream social, that type of stuff. I think those are typical like client events. But then we started thinking more, how can we make it not just inviting past clients, but inviting everyone? Could be buyers we're currently talking to, could be just people in our sphere that we haven't transacted with them, and people in the community. So we started coming up with events that we could do that were more general community events. And the first one that we did was a women's headshot event. And so we partnered with a local photographer, and she donated her time and photography studio. And then we had some local restaurants come to supply like, appetizers and some drinks and things like that. And, we brought like champagne, and we made it like a women in business kind of networking event where any woman who wanted to come in the community could come. And we did a sign up, Genius. So we had at least an idea of who was going to be coming. But anyone who wanted to come could come, doesn't have to be a client. And they could get a refreshed headshot, and the photographer was including one headshot for free. So they got a free headshot. They didn't have to buy additional if they didn't want to, although most people, I think, did buy a couple, poses. So the photographer still ended up, making out on that end. But they came and, had a mimosa, had an appetizer, talked, went in, got their headshot done. And then, and that was it. It was like a quick kind of in and out, but it was awesome because, it was something we were providing free. We're not trying to sell anyone anything. It was just, we're sponsoring this event. Come get your free headshot. And the feedback from that was amazing. Women just randomly in the community were like, I've needed a headshot for 10 years. I'm still using the one from, 2000. And people loved it, and it went over really well. So that kind of got us thinking like, okay, what are other things we could do where we could, kind of support the community, but also support some kind of local business. Because for the photographer, all those women who got their free headshots now know who the photographer is. Maybe they're going to use her for like family photos. So it really worked out to like support the photographer too. So then the next one that we did after that was a women's self-defense class. And so we partnered with a local, self-defense teacher. Well, she owns a karate studio. But that one we had at our office rather than at her location. Because we have a big enough room in our office where we could host like 50 to 70 people doing a self-defense class. And I thought that for that one, it would be good to bring people in to like see, the Keller Williams logo and kind of like make a little bit more brand awareness for that. Whereas the photography, like it kind of had to be in her studio. So we had people come for the free self-defense class. And same thing, we kind of made it like a little bit of mingling in the beginning, and also had, some food trays, appetizers, drinks, things like that. Just for people to kind of hang out, talk, then did the class, had some like giveaways, at the end, that type of stuff. But again, like totally free, just if you're a woman in the community, come learn a little bit about self-defense, have a drink, and, no sales pitch, like nothing. We barely spoke about real estate, but it's like the act of sponsoring it just gives that name recognition and brand awareness without having to shove real estate down people's throats. And then the two most recent that we did or are in the process of doing was I took the township relationship a little bit further and said to the township, can we use your parking lot to host a shredder event for just, anyone in the township or surrounding areas? And they were fine with that. We just had to get a permit. So we hired a shredder truck. It's actually happening Saturday. It was supposed to happen 2 weekends ago when it was like thunderstorms all weekend, so we had to cancel it. So now it's happening this Saturday. So fingers crossed for no rain. But we're basically having a shredder truck come in the parking lot of the township community center. Free to everyone. The township has been amazing because they're kind of almost spinning it as like a township event too. So they did like a robocall to all the seniors, because the seniors in the community, apparently they have this like robocall list for senior events. So they did a robocall to all the senior citizens in our township saying, come get your stuff shredded, for free, because seniors love a good shredding event. And then so for that, we're going to have like food trucks and, just other stuff that's like happening in the parking lot while people are dropping off their documents to be shredded. So that's Saturday. And then last week, we did a movie Under the Stars, also at the Township Community Center, like ball field area. And we had a big movie projector. We showed the Mario movie. And so that was crazy because we had never done anything like this before, and we didn't know how many people were going to come or not come, which is always my biggest anxiety with events, is that we're going to, have this whole thing and like 2 people show up. We had 500 people come to the movie event. Like, we ran out of parking. Yeah. So it was fantastic. And again, like, because we partnered with the township put it out on their social media. Like, that was key. It wasn't just like our social media. So that was huge. And at all these events, you do some kind of raffle, so you're capturing people's information. And it's, again, just, building awareness of who you are.
Yeah.
So
How would you say the process? I mean, I just like you said, I think everybody that I've talked to that wants to host a client event, that's their biggest fear is that 2 people will show up,
mhm.
especially when you're putting all of this money and time and energy into it. So, what does the marketing look like and cost look to this,
Yeah.
to predict who's coming?
Yep. So we do get vendor sponsorships. The cost is not, solely on us, which takes a little bit of the, stress off of it and financial burden off of it. So if we're using the shredder truck, for example, that is $1,000 just to have the shredder truck come to an event for 3 hours.
Wow.
It's like $995. So we have a lender partner that's paying for the shredder truck. So they're covering that cost. Our cost then is going to be like the food truck, and, little other, like, we're doing a raffle, for $100 gift card to a local restaurant. Like, we'll pick that up. So, those things are our costs, but then we try to have, at least like half of it be the vendor partner, which typically is a lender. And then as far as marketing, if we do partner with a lender, we hope that they're going to promote it, on their social media as well, our social media. We do, database emails. We do flyers in local places, where people might see it. We do a Facebook event page as well as posts, because we found that the actual event, like when you create an actual event, then it's more searchable. How, like, when you go to your events, like events happening this weekend on Facebook, like, then it shows up as this weekend's event. And then for the ones we partnered with the township, then they did, additional social media marketing, which was good. And then we always take the opportunity when the event is coming up to make our calls. That's the perfect time to allow people, you don't call your database the way you should, because you don't want to just say like, hey, have any referrals for me? I know I personally, like, I'm the least salesy salesperson. I don't like to say like, do you have a referral for me? Or do you know someone looking to buy or sell? I hate that conversation. It just feels icky to me. So for me, it's great when there's an event, because then my phone call can be, hey, I just wanted to let you know, we have a shredding truck coming this weekend. If you have any documents you want to shred. And that's my touch, and I'm not having to be salesy.
Absolutely. I think that's such a good point. So, what does it look like after the event, to create the actual business from all of this?
Yeah. So, the goal would be you captured some new client data. So like existing people in your database, you could send them a thank you for coming with like the headshot event. The touch after was, here's the link to download your photo. That was an easy one. But just a general, thanks for coming, that type of thing. If it's someone that, we didn't know, so someone that just like came to the movie night, then it's just kind of an email or a text or a phone call, saying, thank you so much for coming. Here's a link to some more information about us. If you know anyone that is looking to buy or sell, we'd love to be your first phone call or something like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what is the return you've seen on this? I mean, how has your database grown?
Um, Yeah, so like I said, we just started these like community events in the past year, so it's still relatively new. Our first one was the headshot event, and that was in January. So it's just been this calendar year. Um, I'd say just from the events, we've probably added maybe 300-400 people to the database, but that's still a good number. And I think it's not going to be like an immediate thing, like anything that you do. It's more going to be a slow thing, so it's not quite as trackable. um but it's more like I have the conversations with people a lot where now they're calling and they're saying, we'd like to buy our first house. We see your name everywhere. Or we saw you just did that movie thing. And, or my sister, went to your movie night and told me I should give you a call because I'm looking to move closer to her. So we've had a lot of those kind of phone calls. And it's just a little bit more like organic and, brand awareness.
Yeah. And it sounds like you guys use social media quite a bit to get the word out.
Mhm.
So, can you
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your social media process and how you've grown that? Because I know that's sometimes a little bit out of our comfort range. But to be able to grow that is obviously a great way to make sure that everybody in your community knows your name.
Yeah. So we try to do videos more. We've been focusing a lot on videos because they say that, videos get you a lot more traction than just a post. And even like from the event, we did like a little at like the movie night, we had a kids freeze dance contest for a prize. And so during the freeze dance contest, one of us just real quick took like a 60-second reel, to be at like the top of Instagram to put of just like the kids dancing. So we try to just do a lot of that type of stuff, just like random clips of things or Instagram reels. Obviously like Facebook posts, like I said, with the event itself. And then, we'll always make a flyer and just keep reposting the flyer, both on like our personal Facebooks, our business Facebook, in local, Facebook yard sale sites, Facebook community sites, any Facebook groups, that we're in. And then it's Facebook and it's Instagram. We will we just started posting stuff on LinkedIn. Someone told me that because LinkedIn recently started video, it kind of stands out more when you have video on LinkedIn. And I never use LinkedIn. So I just put my admin in charge. I said, like, I have a LinkedIn from 12 years ago and I've never logged into it, but like, turn it into a business page and start posting stuff on there because they say that's a good place. We haven't seen anything from that yet, but that was pretty recent. And one of the girls on our team is doing really good with TikTok. That's not something that I have learned personally much about yet, but so a lot of times, like when we have events and stuff like that, like she'll make a TikTok and put it up there too.
Wow. Okay. So you guys got a little bit of everything covered on
Mm-hmm.
there. How has your social media presence grown through all of this?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know when the last time I even looked at like how many followers we have. But it is definitely a big part of our business. So much so that we actually started paying a virtual assistant to just a couple hours every night check all of the social media to see if anyone comment. Like a great example actually regarding social media that could have gotten overlooked is every time we have a listing, I do a walkthrough tour reel and I post that, and then we post the new listing and the photos and all that stuff. And people will randomly like tag their friends in the new listing. And so one night I had some free time, so I just went through and like anyone who tagged a friend, I sent that friend a message like, hey, your friend Joe, tagged you in my post about 123 Main Street. Did you want to set up a private showing? And someone responded and said, actually, yeah, we would. And they ended up buying the house.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, I don't have time to be like looking at every Facebook comment and responding to it. So we started paying a virtual assistant. It's literally like it costs us, $15 a day. And it's just like she's logged in for 3 hours every night and she just looks at all of our social media. And if anyone tags someone or, whatever, like she'll message them and just say, I saw your friend tagged you, you know, what can we help with? We
Wow.
just started that because it was actually just 2 months ago that I, you know, messaged the person who was tagged and said, are you interested in this house your friend tagged you in? And they said yes. And I put them with one of the buyer's agents on the team, and then they went to see it and they were the winning offer. So I was like, okay, this needs to be more of a focus.
Yeah,
Can't
that's a
just trust
huge
that,
database.
you know, someone tags someone that person is then going to take the initiative to pick up the phone and call me and say, I was tagged in your post, I'd like to see your listing. But me saying to them, do you want to come see it tomorrow at 5? And they were like, yeah, that sounds good, we'll be there, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you said you do a reel for every listing you have.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
can you walk us through that a little bit? Because I think that's something so simple that we can do, but so many people don't. And I am a victim of it myself. So walk me
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah. My pretty much kind of like plan is it's just like rinse and repeat is the photographer comes, so you know the house is in the perfect condition because the photographer just came. And I could pay my photographer to do these, but it's kind of expensive, and we realized like it's not that hard to do, so we taught my admin how to do it, and it takes her like 15 minutes. So the photographer leaves, and then I say to the seller, you know, I'm just going to do a quick few video clips that we're going to turn into a 60-second reel of like a quick walkthrough of your house. And so I just go in, and your phone has to be vertical, not landscape. I put it in like the far away mode so it like shows more, and I just hold it in front of me, and it's just me walking through each room, and I stop and start it like as I'm like about to walk into each room. So I just like, you know, record, slowly walk into a room, turn around, stop, start again, go into the next room. It takes me like not even 5 minutes. And then we take all the clips, and then my admin takes each clip, and apparently it's very easy to do. And she just makes them, you know, kind of fade one into the other. And then she'll put some text, you know, updated kitchen, granite countertops, whatever, over like some of the key features, sets it to music. So it doesn't even matter if as you're taking the videos, like people are talking or shutting doors or there's a dog barking, like there's not going to be sound. So sometimes I'll be like talking to my seller, like I'll be taking this video and my seller will be like, when do showings start? And I'm just like having a conversation while I'm taking this quick video. And then it just becomes 60 seconds. And then we post those reels to all the places. So we post the reel to Facebook and Instagram first, because that's where you created it, you know. But then we also then once you post it, you can download it. So then you know, have the actual physical 60-second like MP3 file clip. You can then upload it other places. So then we upload it to TikTok, upload it to YouTube, upload it to LinkedIn, and upload, you know, to all the social media places.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm checking out your social media right
Oh
now.
yeah.
Because you get a lot of likes and comments on there. I mean, I think one of these has 162 comments on it. I mean, that's a whole database right there
Yeah.
to start out. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, does anybody have any questions for her? I mean, we kind of went down a rabbit hole that I'm really glad we went down. But the client events, I mean, being able to get into your community, and it sounds pretty low cost. Like you're not having to put a whole lot out of pocket.
Yeah, I would say on average, by the time we have vendor partners or even like other places donating things, like we had the owner of the local Pliables, she's in a networking group I'm in, and she was like, we'll just come and give out, you know, we'll make these mini Pliables. And at the end of the women's self-defense class, they were outside. And like, as you were leaving, it's like, here's a little refreshing treat. Like she didn't make, you know, we didn't pay for that. Like that was her advertising her business too. So she just gave those out. So I would say on average, our cost for each event is maybe, you know, $500 to $1,000 at the most, with, you know, vendors or donations covering a big chunk of it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And in real estate, it's a write-off, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And I mean, if one event brings a new client, like then that's,
Pays for
totally worth
itself.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, tell me a little bit. One thing we didn't touch on was the time that this takes, because I think you mentioned you have 6 buyers agents, you have an admin. So obviously it takes a little bit of time. What's the management on that?
We're trying to plan things more in advance now because a lot of these we threw together very last minute. And so my admin actually was like, I need more time. I need more time. This is too last minute. The movie night actually was our craziest, quickest turnaround because it started with a conversation with the Parks and Rec director in our township. That conversation happened the second week of June, and the event happened the first week of July. So it was like 2.5 weeks. And that was like the biggest, you would have thought we were planning that for 6 months if you came to the event, because somehow it just, everything fell into place. But I would say like what we're trying to do now is come up with like a year calendar and say, what do we want to do and when do we want to do it? And then like 2 months before really start getting the pieces in place and kind of have like a 2 months before, let's start talking about it. Then like a month before, let's start advertising it. Because you don't want to advertise things too far in advance. Then they just kind of become like white noise, but you don't want to be too last minute. So I feel like a month is the right timeline to start really, putting things together. And then like the final 2 weeks before like a, last minute push of reminders.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Any questions for Kim? We covered a lot. I mean, I feel like I'm ready to go plan a whole event right now. Anybody? I always say
Quiet. You're
when there's
quiet.
no questions, that means you covered everything.
Hopefully.
Kim, I
Kim,
think it's amazing everything that you guys are planning and doing. My head is spinning right now. I've got so many ideas going around right now. It's unbelievable.
So here's the one thing I will say, because I tend to get like fatigued if I have too many ideas at once, then I do nothing. Because it's just like too much. So I really try to just pick one thing and make that my focus at a time. I can't be trying to plan like 3 events at once. I just, none of them will be successful. So instead it's like pick the one thing, focus on that until it's done, and then like move on to the next, because otherwise it's too much.
Right, right. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm already texting like another agent, we can do this and let's do that. And I'm just so excited. So thank you so much for sharing your great ideas.
Oh, you're welcome. Good luck.
I think I have a hint who she was texting. You guys are thick as thieves.
Yes.
Anybody else? I think Brendan Crotty, you had tried to say something. I'm sorry.
if you heard me, it was by mistake. I was talking to my son.
That's okay. All right. Well, Kim, we are hopefully going to be Facebook friends so you can see all of the events our agents are going to be posting over the next half of the year. Then thank you so much for sharing all of this greatness. So you have the shredding event this Saturday. What's the next big one?
We have a gap until our Thanksgiving pie pickup, and we may decide to throw a little last minute thing in like September, but we haven't come up with an idea yet. So we probably will. We're trying to get past the shredder event because we had the movie night and the shredder event all at the same time, and that was a little too much. So we just are losing our minds. We were probably going to think of something and add it for September, and I will let you know what it is.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day today.
Yeah.
And
find me on Facebook so I can follow you guys and see what you all do. And then shameless plug, when your Delaware people want to move to Pennsylvania or New Jersey, send them my way. Although it's the opposite, right? All the Pennsylvania and New Jersey people are going to Delaware right now.
that's what we're seeing. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah.
especially
If
the
you need
Delaware.
me, yeah. Well, if they contact you in Delaware to buy and they have a house to list in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, this could actually work really well. So let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kim. Thanks everybody
right.
for jumping on.
Have a
Have
good
a
day.
great rest of your Wednesday. Go out and win.
Bye.
Thank you.